how excited I am about being able to come and see you perform on Monday night. So I was wondering if we could start off by telling the listeners a little bit about your show, What Are the Chances, at this year's festival?
Okay, so it's sort of a series of serendipitous encounters that I've had in the last few years, such as I worked as a guest commentator, cricket commentator in India. I sort of helped out in an FBI investigation, and very fortuitously one afternoon in Sydney I met an old Japanese woman called Mitoko, and sort of the themes and the stories and the jokes come out of these sort of strange occurrences in my life, and come together in a hopefully funny and coherent way by the end of it.
Definitely. Now, I understand from reading through what some of the things that you cover in the show that pre-COVID, I think that's the term we have to use now, pre-COVID, you were a pretty big traveller, is that right?
A little bit. I lived overseas for a few years, but I was working as well on a TV show in India before the lockdown happened. So I guess that was part of my movement across the world.
So tell us a little bit about that. How did you become involved with a television show in India?
I auditioned for the TV show, and I luckily, very fortunately, got the part. And so that was pretty exciting. It's based on a book called Shantaram, which I don't know if you're aware of the book or know the story, but it's based on a guy who a Melburnian man actually was in Pentridge prison maybe 40 years ago, and he escaped Pentridge, and then he fled to India, and so it sort of follows his journey, and that man is played by a guy called Charlie Hunnam, and I got given the book about 12 years ago when I first left home, and I was moving to Sydney, and I caught the overnight train to Sydney, and a friend of mine gave me the book, and I started reading it, and I was sort of so enamored by it that I started reading it out aloud to the passengers around me, and then about maybe 10 years after that, I got the chance to be a part of it, so that was very exciting and full circle sort of journey as well.
Yeah. Now, living overseas when you're an Aussie, lots of interesting things can happen. I've had that experience living and working in Patong in Thailand.
Oh, wow.
Tell us a little bit about how your time in India has kind of inspired some of the stories that we'll hear in your show this year.
How has it, or stories, or how it inspired it? I guess, the people in India, and probably, in many places around the world, and maybe especially Southeast Asia, that they're sort of so generous and kind and hospitable and gracious. And India's, you're probably aware, they're huge cricket fans, and so if you come from Australia, I feel like they give you they treat you with a particular level of kindness that's reserved for a cricketing nation like Australia, and so many of our players have made an impression on them and their psyche that they sort of project it to you when they first meet you, and ask you if you know Shane Warne or Ricky Ponting or Adam Gilchrist, and all these guys have really infiltrated the zeitgeist there in a very profound way.
Yeah, definitely. Brett Lee's even had a bit of a Bollywood career as well, I understand, over there. Is that right?
Yeah, he has. I'm not familiar with Brett Lee's Bollywood work, but I think he's famous for several reasons, one of which is his Bollywood work as well.
Yeah. So, Joseph, tell us a little bit about what the last 12 months has been like for you, because we've been chatting to a lot of performers from this year's comedy festival, and the last 12 months has been pretty tough. So what has it been like for you not being able to perform over the last 12 months?
Yeah, it's obviously I missed it a lot, and I also went back to university in the second half of last year just to finish what I'd started many years ago, but also just to give myself sort of some structure and something to direct my energies on throughout the second half of the year. So that was some consolation amongst all of the chaos and uncertainty that everybody was navigating in their own way.
Yeah. And how have you found the shows so far that you've done at this year's festival? Because I know a lot of people were kind of worried that there wouldn't be big crowds and that people would be kind of still too scared to go to shows, but all the shows I've been to so far have been pretty full. So have you found that with your shows as well?
Yeah, I think everybody's been very pleasantly surprised in that regard. People have been coming out and turning up, and so it's great, and there's a great energy around the city and the shows. So I've only had 2 shows so far, but so far so good. They've been filling up, and hopefully we can continue it for the remaining 10 or 11 or 12, how many left there is.
Definitely. And getting back into comedy after that almost 12 months off, were you kind of nervous on the first night? Did it almost feel like you were starting out your career again?
A little bit. I don't know if I was didn't feel like I was starting again, because, there are so many familiar people, and so, most of it's pretty familiar, but you do feel a bit like, how do I do this again? You're sort of reminding your body and your brain how to do the thing you've been doing for so long. And there were some lucky breaks and lucky funny anecdotes coming out of the lockdown that could serve well. And then just embracing the failure is a big part of the process. So just getting used to that and working through the material and getting into the swing of things was it was so welcome though, that any tough gigs was sort of made up, but for the fact that sorry, somebody was calling me. I should have.
That's all right.
You can stop that. But yeah, it's been great.
Yeah.
Answers the question.
Well, mate, I cannot wait to see your show on Monday night. So for our listeners out there who are thinking about coming along to see your show, tell us why they should come along and see Joseph Green's What Are the Chances?
It's because it's a really just great show and a fun show and very enjoyable time. And if you want to have a great time, I think the show gives that. And it's lots of silliness and sort of a wild, unpredictable ending. And a lot of people have been loving the finale, which is sort of unexpected and surprising, and lots of fun and smiling, happy faces at the end of it. So we'd love to have you there.
Awesome. Well, for all our listeners out there, if you do want to head along and see Joseph Green, just go to our show's website. All of the details are up there, and there's a link to buy tickets as well. And if you listen to this on the podcast, just go right beneath where you found the podcast, and the link will be there as well. Mate, thank you so much for coming on our show today. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you, and I cannot wait to check out your show on Monday night.
Can't wait to see you, David. Thanks so much.
All right, mate. I'll let you go. Have a great night. We'll see you soon.
See you then.
See you, mate. Bye.